Please, she gasped, her small voice cracking. Please, somebody help me. My mommy? The word hung in the air as her legs buckled, and she collapsed onto the worn wooden floor. Big Mike was the first to move. At 6'5", with arms covered in tattoos and a beard that reached his chest, he looked like someone you'd cross the street to avoid. But he was kneeling beside the child in seconds, his calloused hands surprisingly gentle as he checked her pulse. She's breathing, he called out. Somebody get water. And call 911. The bar erupted into controlled chaos. Riders who moments before had been trading stories over whiskey were now crowding around, their faces etched with concern. Sarah, the bartender and only woman in the building, pushed through with a wet cloth and a glass of water. Give her space, she ordered, and the wall of leather and denim parted instantly. Sarah knelt beside the girl, gently wiping the dirt from her face. Sweetheart, can you hear me? You're safe now. We've got you. The little girl's eyelids fluttered open, revealing bright blue eyes swimming with tears. My backpack, she whispered urgently, trying to sit up. Don't let anyone take my backpack. Promise me. We promise, Big Mike said softly, retrieving the pink bag from where it had fallen. Nobody's going to take anything from you, kiddo, but we need to know what happened. Where's your mommy? Fresh tears spilled down her cheeks. She's in the car, off the road. She won't wake up and I couldn't. Her voice broke into sobs. I couldn't get her to wake up. The bikers exchanged glances, years of road experience telling them this was bad. Real bad. How far? Asked Jake, already pulling out his keys. I don't know, the girl hiccuped. I ran and ran. There were trees and a hill and... Route 47, interrupted Tommy, pointing toward the highway visible through the window. There's that bad curve about 3 miles north. Heavy woods, steep embankment. I've seen cars go off there before. Big Mike was already on his phone with emergency services, his voice calm and authoritative as he relayed information. Meanwhile, Sarah helped the little girl sit up, offering her small sips of water. What's your name, honey? Sarah asked. Emma, the girl whispered. Emma Patterson. I'm 7.5. Well, Emma, you were very brave to come here and ask for help. The paramedics are on their way, and some of these guys are going to go find your mommy right now, okay? Emma's fingers clutched the pink backpack to her chest. But you have to promise you'll keep this safe. It's important. Really, really important. Something in her voice made Sarah pause. What's in the backpack, sweetheart? Emma's lower lip trembled. Everything. Before Sarah could ask what she meant, Big Mike ended his call and gestured to Jake, Tommy, and 3 other riders. Let's move. Tommy, you lead. Everyone else, grab your first aid kits. He looked down at Emma. We're gonna find her, kiddo. I promise. The roar of motorcycle engines filled the air as the search party tore out of the parking lot. Those who remained gathered closer around Emma, forming a protective circle. One of the bikers, an older man named Dutch, pulled off his leather jacket and draped it over her shoulders. It swallowed her small frame, but she snuggled into its warmth. You're gonna be okay, little one, Dutch said, his gravelly voice surprisingly gentle. You're with the Iron Brotherhood now, and we take care of our own. Emma looked up at the intimidating faces surrounding her, scarred, weathered, bearing the marks of hard lives, and felt safer than she had in hours. Thank you, she whispered. The minutes ticked by agonizingly slowly. Sarah kept Emma talking, asking about school, her favorite subjects, her pets, anything to keep the little girl's mind off what might be happening. On Route 47, Emma clutched that pink backpack the entire time, never loosening her grip. Finally, Big Mike's voice crackled through Dutch's phone. We found her! Car's pretty banged up, wedged between 2 trees about 40 feet down. Mom's unconscious, but alive. Paramedics just arrived. We're stabilizing her now. A collective exhale filled the bar, and Emma burst into tears, but this time they were tears of relief. Is she going to be okay? Emma asked, her voice barely audible. Sarah squeezed her hand. The best people are with her now, and they're going to do everything they can. 20 minutes later, the ambulance arrived at Murphy's Roadhouse. The paramedics checked Emma over, miraculously, aside from scrapes, dehydration, and exhaustion. She was physically fine. The psychological trauma would take longer to heal, but for now, she was stable. We're taking you to St. Mary's Hospital. one paramedic explained. "That's where they're bringing your mom." "My backpack," Emma said immediately, panic rising in her voice. "We've got it," Sarah assured her, handing over the pink bag. "See? Safe and sound." As the paramedics loaded Emma into the ambulance, she looked back at the bikers who had become her unlikely heroes. "Thank you," she called out. "Thank you for helping me save my mommy." Big Mike stepped forward. "Hey, Emma. You're the one who saved her. You ran for help. You were brave when it mattered most. We just gave you a hand." The ambulance doors closed, and as it pulled away, Dutch shook his head in wonder. That little girl ran 3 miles through the woods to find help. 3 miles. Adrenaline's a hell of a thing, Jake said, having returned from the accident site. "But I'll tell you what else is something. I got a glimpse of what the mom was carrying when they pulled her out. Hospital badges, medical equipment. She's a nurse." Sarah's eyes widened. "A nurse, of course. That's probably why Emma was so desperate to—" She stopped mid-sentence as a thought occurred to her. The backpack. Did anyone actually see what was in it? They all looked at each other and shook their heads. 3 days later, Big Mike got a call from St. Mary's Hospital. Emma's mother, Jennifer Patterson, had regained consciousness and was asking for him. When he arrived at the hospital room, he found Emma sitting beside her mother's bed, coloring in a notebook. The pink backpack sat on the nightstand. "You came," Jennifer said weakly, her arm in a sling, bandages visible beneath her hospital gown. "I wanted to thank you personally. Emma told me everything, how you all helped her, kept her safe." "She's a tough kid," Big Mike said. "Takes after her mom, I'm guessing." Jennifer smiled, then grew serious. "She also told me about the backpack, how she made you promise to protect it." She reached over and unzipped the bag, pulling out its contents. Big Mike's breath caught in his throat. Inside weren't toys or snacks or any of the things you'd expect a 7-year-old to carry. Instead, the backpack held an insulin pump, glucose monitors, emergency medication, and medical instruction cards. "Emma has type 1 diabetes," Jennifer explained quietly. "Diagnosed 2 years ago. I'm a pediatric nurse, so I know how critical it is to keep her supplies with her at all times. When we crashed, my first thought, my only thought, was making sure Emma had her backpack. Even as I was losing consciousness, I was telling her to grab it and run for help." Emma looked up from her coloring. "Mommy said it's my superhero kit, because it keeps me strong." Big Mike felt his throat tighten. He understood now why the little girl had been so desperate, so insistent. That backpack wasn't just important, it was life or death. Without it, lost in the woods or waiting for help, Emma could have faced a diabetic emergency with no way to treat it. "You raised one hell of a kid, ma'am," he said finally. "She trusted us with what matters most to her, and she saved your life in the process." Jennifer reached for his hand. "I don't know how to repay you all." Big Mike shook his head. "No repayment needed. But I'll tell you what. When you're both healed up, you come by Murphy's Roadhouse. First burgers are on the house, and Emma gets to ring the bell of every single motorcycle in the parking lot." Emma's face lit up. "Really?" "Really," Big Mike confirmed. "You're part of the Iron Brotherhood now, kiddo. That's forever." 2 months later, on a sunny Saturday afternoon, a small girl with a pink backpack walked into Murphy's Roadhouse holding her mother's hand. The bar erupted in cheers. Bikers who had faced down danger on highways across America stood and applauded a 7-year-old girl who had shown more courage than most people would in a lifetime. Emma spent the afternoon being passed from one leather-clad giant to another, each one showing her their bikes, letting her try on helmets far too big for her head, and telling her stories about the open road. The pink backpack never left her shoulders. But now it didn't represent fear or desperation. It represented survival, strength, and the unexpected kindness of strangers who became family. As the sun set and Jennifer prepared to take Emma home, Big Mike knelt down one last time. "You remember what I told you, Emma? About how you saved your mom?" Emma nodded. "I want you to remember something else. The world's gonna try to tell you that people who look different or act different from you are scary. Don't you believe it? Some of the biggest hearts come in the roughest packages. You judge people by what they do, not what they look like. Deal?" Emma threw her arms around his neck. "Deal." The little girl in the pink backpack had run into a biker bar begging for help and found something unexpected. Proof that humanity, compassion, And heroism can be found in the most unlikely places. Sometimes all it takes is someone small enough to see past the surface, brave enough to ask for help, and strong enough to trust that kindness still exists in the world. And sometimes, all it takes is a room full of tough bikers with hearts soft, enough to answer a desperate child's call.